Welcome to Plans Are Booked, a podcast for every reader. I'm Molly Geller. Today we are joined by author, educator, bookseller, dog mom, champion of plus-size protagonists, Jenny L. Howe. Jenny, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
I am so delighted that you are here. The listeners may not know this, but we have actually had the pleasure of meeting in person. You were on the book tour for your book On the Plus Side.
Yes.
And Stephanie and I were able to come to Belmont Books and hear you speak about the writing process.
Yes.
And about your inspiration for this story. You actually signed my copy, which you should know, I've loaned this to no one. Like, that's how precious this is to me because you signed it.
Oh.
And I don't know if you would remember this. I was telling you about how I grew up watching What Not to Wear, since you had talked about that in your talk. And how for years I didn't wear horizontal stripes.
Right.
Because Stacy and Clinton said that a plus size gal should not wear horizontal stripes. So your signature to me in here says, Molly, wear all the stripes. Love, Jenny.
Did you wear all the stripes?
I sure did.
I love this, Molly.
I've crossed over into like anything that makes me...
Everything. I love it.
Yes. Anything that makes me feel joy is on the table for the closet.
That's what clothes should do.
Correct. I agree. I'm so happy that you're here. I have so many questions for you.
I hopefully have answers.
You will. I would love to start with just, where did the love of writing begin? When did you realize that this was the thing that lights you up and you wanted to give it more of your time?
I mean, my whole life, really. So my mother she's retired. She's still with us, but she's retired. A kindergarten teacher and a reading specialist. So I started reading it too. And before I was reading stories, I was telling stories. Like, her favorite story to tell about me is that when I was 2 or 3 years old, in Good Housekeeping, this magazine from, decades ago, there was a contest, a strawberry shortcake contest. So like, you're supposed to ask your child like why they love strawberry shortcake. And so my mother asked me, and I said, well, she helps me walk to the mailbox and she eats my Brussels sprouts. Now, our mailbox was attached to like right next to our door. There was no walking to the mailbox, and I had never seen a Brussels sprout. And I feel like that is just, I won second place, but I was making things up that young. And then it just, when I was younger, when I was in junior high, I had a group of friends. We were all obsessed with those, like Christopher Pike, R.L. Stein, Fair Street. And so we used to, we had those black and white journal notebooks.
Oh, of course.
And we would write our own versions of these stories, but we would base them on our classmates. So I went to this tiny Catholic school, like 20 of us, and there would be a decoder in the back of who was who. And like, my friend and I, who had a crush on the same boy, split him into 2 people so we could each have him, right? And we would call each other at night and like read what we'd written lately. And I think that Jenny, well, she'd be thrilled that I'm published, would have a lot of questions about the last 4 books I published. This one, she'll understand a little more.
Yeah.
But the other 4, she would be like, where are the monsters and the dead people and the murder?
Wow. Okay, so that's interesting. So you started I think we're around the same age, you and I. So many of us, Goosebumps was a massive part of our formative years of both being passionate readers and also coming up with our own ideas and our own stories. It sounds like you were more in that sort of like mystery, thriller, fantasy realm before what you actually wound up having come out as your first book.
Yeah. I stopped writing in high school because like in the 90s, like being a writer felt like being a model or like a rock star or an actor. Like, who does that? It's not real life.
Yeah.
And I didn't start writing again until I was in grad school and decided writing a book alongside my dissertation was a great idea.
Here's what I'm learning about you. You're a multitasker. Like, you wear many hats all the time. I don't think, we've had the pleasure of following your journey for a while, but I don't think people realize, like, you are writing a high volume of books and teaching.
Mm-hmm.
You are a bookseller at an Unlikely Story, an amazing bookstore in Plainville, Massachusetts. And you have many other roles. But I think the volume of books you've published, many people might just assume that's all you're doing. No.
And I teach like literature and writing classes, so I'm grading.
Yeah, you're reviewing
I
other
probably
people's
grade
work.
500 papers a semester. Like, that's not an exaggeration.
Wow. Do you find that teaching the craft and also having a chance to sort of help people shape and mold their own point of view is impacting the things you're writing now?
So I think I just grow too. Like, you never stop learning to write. I'm sure if I went back and reread the makeup test, I would want to change half of it, right? Because
Yeah.
writing is never truly done. And so I grow with every book, and I think I grow with every class I teach and with every student that I
Yeah.
work with.
Yeah, that's so cool. I want to talk about On the Plus Side, which is my entry into Jenny
I love
Bella
how
Howe
my
world.
second books in each age category are orange,
I know, I love it too.
right?
Did you do that intentionally?
No, I had no control over the color scheme of either of them.
Wow. So, for those who maybe haven't had a chance to read it yet, On the Plus Side is about Everly and Logan. You were actually the person to introduce me to the terminology grumpy sunshine. I had not heard that.
I'm so glad I could enter that world for you, because
Yes,
that is my favorite trope.
it's so good. I was aware of things like enemies to lovers and fake
Yeah.
dating, but I'd not heard anyone describe a romantic relationship in that way. As someone who was a long time viewer of the OG Bachelor, the premise of this book hooked me immediately. I'm like, she's going to be the plus size bachelorette. She's going to be at the center of all of this. That is a thing that will probably never happen on television in my lifetime. So let's like enter this fictional world. And then the fact that she should fall for someone so lumberjacky and gorgeous as Logan.
I
I
love Logan.
I love Logan too. And I feel like this was so cool on so many levels. The premise was unbelievably fun. And as you know, when you're in a bookstore and you're walking around a table and you're picking things up and you're reading the back jacket, you got to be reeled in immediately to take something home that you're not already aware of.
Yep.
And I think your blurb for this book, it's immediate that anyone who is a fan of that type of TV is like, yep, I'm in on this. And for women who look like me, who rarely see themselves represented on covers, you're like, okay, I want and need to support this.
Mm-hmm.
The day that we came to your talk, you also generously gave some art to those of us who bought book copies. I am still, to this day,
Lenny
carrying this
Kaufman.
around. So the listeners know this. I'm single. This is my manifestation. You're
All
looking
right.
at it. You're looking at it.
Right. I will manifest it for you as well.
How can anyone look at this and not want to read this book?
Right.
It's like extremely captivating and compelling.
So that artist is the artist of my YA covers.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Because she draws beautiful. That's Lenny Kaufman.
Okay.
For people who, she is very well known in the romance community because she does a lot of romance covers.
Okay.
But she draws plus size women and makes them so beautiful.
So beautiful and sexy, which people don't always understand that both of those things can be true.
Absolutely.
I would love for you to share. I've heard you speak about this before, but I'd love for you to share why it feels so important to have plus size women at the center of these stories and to have them be such full, complex characters and not like the funny friend.
Well, Jesus. So I grew up, as I said, I was a teen in the 90s, which was a rough time. Well, I mean, I don't know. People who are living now, it's basically like you're living in the 90s slightly, but it was a really rough time for body image. This is the generation of Weight Watchers, of all those like fat-free
Snackwell's cookies. You know how many I ate of those?
Right, the Snackwell's cookies, the chips that gave you the shits. I hope it's okay if I swear. Jessica Simpson was fat. Renee Zellweger was fat. Right, these women who were probably size 8, size 6 were publicly criticized for being fat.
Yeah.
And so it was hard to be a woman no matter what your body looked like in the 90s. But if you were a plus size woman,
Hmm.
it was incredible. Like you either didn't see yourself anywhere, or if you did, you were the stereotypical can't stop eating, sort of pathetic, sad character. You were the funny best friend who never got the guy or the girl or whoever you wanted to get, or you didn't exist at all. And that is how I grew up.
Yeah.
And so pop culture told me I would never have a boyfriend. I would never find love. And I would never be the hero in my own story unless I was losing weight. Right? Like the Bridget Jones kind of, right?
Yeah.
And I believed that throughout my teens and my early 20s to the point that I didn't even try. And I think a lot now, like, so my first book that I read, or media really that I consumed, that centered a plus size person was Dumplin'
Yeah.
by Julie Murphy. And I was in my 30s. And that book just like blew open my world. And I
Yeah.
just was like, imagine if I had had this book when I was a teen,
Yeah.
how it would have changed my understanding of where I fit in the world. Because whether we like it or not, romance tells readers, the public, pop culture, however you want to talk about it, who gets a love story and who doesn't.
Yeah.
And I think this is true. We don't talk enough about the damage it can have on men, too. When every male love interest, it has a 12 pack and an elephant trunk for a
Yes.
genitalia, right? And that he has to have a chiseled jaw and act a certain way, or you are not a romantic hero, right? Like that again tells men what women want. And it's kind of not surprising to me that we're seeing, like, my husband introduced me to this whole looks maxing thing, which I had heard nothing about, where young men are like breaking their jaws to give them these square jawed looks and having plastic surgery, and this is the flip side of what women have been going through, right?
For
Or
sure.
people who identify as femme, right? And we need stories where the main characters and love interests are look like all different kinds of people, right?
Couldn't
Because,
agree more.
right, and that includes BIPOC people, disabled people, queer people, and fat people.
Agreed. I think what is interesting is social media has brought a lot of good things into our lives and a lot of hard things into our lives. Several years ago, a friend said to me, "You need to follow more people who look like you."
Yep.
The fact that you are out, it's this, what you're describing in the 90s of the, heroin chic and the Kate Moss on the cover of every
And the low
magazine,
rise jeans and
the
the
low rise jeans. If that's all you saw, you knew there was no place for you in the magic that happens for those women.
right.
And now, as we're recording this, we're a few days after this Sports Illustrated swimsuit runway show
Mhm.
in which there were multiple stunning plus size women walking down this runway. Lizzo and Hunter McGrady and all of these other stunning women. And I thought to myself, I never thought I would see this. I
Mhm.
never thought I would see a bathing suit runway show from the number one issue that they publish all year
Mhm.
that would include women that look like me.
Mhm.
And to be able to see that representation in modeling, in advertising, and now in romance books, it is a game changer. It makes you believe that those things are possible for you.
And they are possible.
From your
Like
mouth to
I'm
God's ears, Jenny.
I am going next month. I will be married 20 years
That's amazing.
to a man that my one of my best friends is convinced is Logan. is the inspiration for Logan. I mean, he doesn't wear as much flannel as Logan, and he's much chattier, but he's got the beard, and he loves animals
I
to
love
the
that.
same extent, and their builds are similar, and he's got the blue eyes.
I love
Um,
that.
and so, but like if you had told me when I was 20 that I would find a good man, a handsome man,
Yeah.
right, and that I would have a wonderful love story,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have believed you,
Yeah.
right? And yet, and so my hope is that my books, it was interesting because I was at an event the other day and a woman stopped me and she told me she had read Love at Full Tilt and that
Yeah.
if she had had that book when she was 16, it would have changed her life.
Oh.
And like, that's why I write these books. Like, if I can be like very honest, and this is, if you spend any time in the book community, you know this.
Yeah.
Anybody who writes diversely, it impacts the visibility of your books. It impacts the sales of your books. It
Yeah.
impacts a lot of things. Books with plus size main characters often aren't on tables. They're often not turned out. Bookish people tend not to remember to include them in roundups, except when it's like body positivity. Right. But like if there's amusement park books, like Love at Full Tilt won't be there.
Right.
Right. And so this is why I write these books regardless of what it means for my career, because like this book would have changed my life. If I was 16 and walked by a bookshelf and here is this beautiful, I wish I had a copy of Love at Full Tilt handy too, but this like stylish, adorable plus size girl and this cute boy. And then of course, Love at Full Tilt is my plus size girl gets the hot guy.
Yeah.
Mason is, Channing Tatum in She's the Man, very specifically.
Yeah.
It would have changed my life.
Yeah.
Right? Like just seeing, I mean, without Julie Murphy and Olivia Dade and Talia Hibbert and these authors who were brave enough to push for stories with plus size people when there weren't any.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have, and there's still not enough. And we're swinging back in the other direction. Publishing's not looking for body inclusivity anymore.
Right.
Because we're swinging. I mean, the 90s are back.
Oh, thanks GLP-1s. I mean, we could talk about that for an entire separate hour, but the erasure that's happening right now as a result of literally being able to inject yourself and become thin is hearkening back, you said it earlier, to how it felt in the 90s, where all of a sudden the super thin aesthetic is being praised again. All of us who gave away all the clothes we had from those years, they're coming, all of them are coming back.
I know.
It's like
all my contempo casual clothes.
I was going to say Delia's catalog clothes. Yep. They've rebounded.
I don't know. I could have sold them for a lot of money now.
I know, that's true. I will say, as someone who needed to read these books now, present day, it means so much to have authors continue to do this despite the challenges that you mentioned. And I've talked a lot on this podcast about my tarot card reader, Lindsay. She's amazing. And she always says to me, when you are aligned with your true purpose, your potential will be unlimited. And I feel like that is what is happening to you. You have found this very clear purpose for the types of stories you want to tell.
Oh, it's my voice, right? This is my voice.
That's right. And the reception has been wonderful from readers. I know it because when I talk to people about your books, they're always like, oh yeah, I read this and I read this and now she's doing YA. People who are fans of you are like ride or die fans for these characters.
And I love them. I love
and are out there talking about it to everyone who will listen for all the reasons that you said. I think there is this, I don't know if grassroots is the right way to talk about it, but the readers, I think, are the ones who are saying like, why don't you have a copy of this book? Or why can't I find this? Ask the people at Belmont Books how many times I walk in there and ask why something isn't on the shelf. It's almost weekly.
Well, unfortunately, independent bookstores only have so much shelf space.
It's true. And you know this because you're inside of one all the time. But I think
my books are always at that store. But I have a very special relationship with An Unlikely Story.
Yes. And for those who are not New Englanders, An Unlikely Story is in Plainville, Massachusetts, and is also owned by an author. and gets
He's having a little bit
incredible.
of a different career than I
Yeah. So far, so far. And gets incredible authors to come through and share their stories and speak on panels. And also, I believe you've written, like, you've sat there and written some of your own work in the bookstore.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to do that after we talk.
Yeah. I think it's amazing that that's encouraged for people to hang out and work on projects
Well,
and
they have a
use.
whole upstairs cafe space. Like,
Yeah.
it is a store that's built for community,
Yeah.
and that is what Jeff wanted it to be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's talk about how not to renovate a haunted house. I have my
My
copy too.
ghost babies.
This is so awesome. Okay, so this is your second YA book,
And
which
my
is
fifth book overall.
fifth book overall, coming out July 21st. And you've been calling it Summerween. We're going to have a Summerween.
Yeah. That is a term in the bookish community. That, like,
Yes.
in July, all the readers are like, it needs to be Halloween now. And they'll do, like, a horror list, books to read in the summer to, like, make it feel like Halloween. So I decided, why not use that as, like, the celebration for this book? So I'm launching it in an unlikely story on 7/21, and I have 3 YA friends who also write books that are, like, spooky, kind of romantic, and we're gonna have, like, a Summerween celebration.
Love it.
Costumes are encouraged but not required.
Okay.
There might be candy, like we're trick-or-treating. It's gonna be
amazing. Amazing. Okay, so this is the story of Amity and Theo. And Amity and her mom moved to Harlow's Rest, Massachusetts, which I love as a town name.
Thank you.
And there are so many amazing locations in this town, including, I tagged this in the book because I didn't want to forget it, a diner called Nobody Puts Pancakes in a Corner.
I can't believe, I am so grateful that my editor let me get away with some of these.
The Dirty Dancing references are incredible.
Well, the whole restaurant's themed around Dirty Dancing.
It's incredible. It's incredible. And I thought to myself, of all of her work, please let this get a screen adaptation just so I can see the diner. Truly.
I know.
Will be amazing. So Amity and her mom relocate. They're starting over and they move into what is believed to be a haunted house. And they're trying to make some zhuzh repairs to make it feel more like them, get settled in. The paint is not drying. Critters are wanting to live there with them. It's kind of the struggle bus. And it turns out that there is a young ghost enthusiast, Theo, whose dad is like a repairman.
Our contractor.
Contractor with a very well-to-do YouTube channel.
Yes.
And they wind up meeting as a result of her searching for these, like, how to do these fixes and repairs and why isn't anything working. He shows up with his dad. And it turns out that they form this initially friendship over him trying to help her figure out, is the house haunted? And then it becomes...
She is a skeptic and thinks he's absurd.
Yeah.
And is willing to let him... She wants to prove to him the house is not haunted.
They have sort of a funny dynamic going where he not only deeply believes and also has, I won't give it away, but has his own very real and sensitive reason for believing that it's true. And she is like, can we just do the repairs? Like, what are you? This is a waste. What I personally resonated with most about Amity, she has like no relationship experience to speak of.
She's my late bloomer.
And so when things start to move from they're just on these ghost hunting adventures into possibly something romantic, she enters full panic mode. I have been that girl. I have reacted in those ways. I have done the jump out of the car at warp speed. I've done the, so sorry, I'm not feeling well, I gotta go. Like, I've done every iteration of that. And he is so patient with her. His reactions are so kind and thoughtful and just allow her to get one step closer to telling her whole truth. And if you'll indulge me, I wanted to read you my favorite section.
Of course.
Okay. So he calls her beautiful And then you wrote, I stare at his profile. He's so relaxed, like he hasn't just opened himself up. Like he's not afraid. He's proverbially bleeding out after confessing all that. I want to know how to do that. So, of course, my mouth blurts out those words. Do what? He asks. Be honest like that. Aren't you afraid of how I'll respond? To me telling you the truth? He shrugs. I'm more afraid of you never knowing how awesome you are. He flashes me a small smile. I feel like I'm about to do a loop on a roller coaster, but my safety harness is gone. That is like, she's saying, I don't even know how to have a conversation like this. And he's saying, I can't bear the thought of you not knowing how amazing you are. That is the swooniest thing there could ever be.
Well, she also is struggling with some real social anxiety from things in her past that readers can discover when they read the book.
Yes.
And so part of the sort of tension between them at the beginning is that she's coming from being the weird girl back in her old hometown. And the last thing she wants is to immediately be tagged as the weird girl in Harlow's Rest, where she's supposed to get to start over because she's living in the haunted house and the amateur ghost hunter won't stop filming her home and putting it on YouTube.
Yes.
And so that is part of the tension between them. But Theo is a very honest, open young man. And that just blows her mind because she has to think through everything 400 times before she says it, or she just blurts it out and then gets upset with herself. Yeah. And so he is, I think, in some ways, very much what she needs.
Did you have, we were talking earlier about Channing Tatum and She's the Man. Did you have an inspiration for Theo, something that sparked kind of his character development?
Not his character. So my inspirations tend to just be visual because I am not a visual person. So I have to go to like Pinterest boards and stuff to figure out what people look like.
Yeah.
I think that when I come up with characters, it's really about like who is the right pairing for them, right? And so most of my stories start with who is the main character, right? Like I'll have a concept. So I was like, girl moves into haunted house.
Yeah.
Right.
So theme one.
Yes. Girl moves into haunted house. Boy is ghost hunter. That was sort of the concept. Yeah. And then I'm like, who is she? And I start to sort of peel back that onion.
Yeah.
And as I figure out who she is, then I can think about what does she need? And that is sort of where the love interest comes from. And then I sort of also think about what does he need?
Yeah.
And how are they what each other needs, right? Because to me, that is what makes strong relationships, is when you kind of fill in each other's gaps in a non-dirty way. For YA in an adult book, in a dirty way too.
It's good you clarified that. We have a lot of 5 spicy pepper listeners out there. I also want to talk about, you set this story and others in Massachusetts, which is where we live.
What you know, they say.
Yeah. So I was going to ask that. Is it right what you know? Is it that it feels like you have the strongest sense of place here, and so it feels like setting the stories here allows you to give it that real relatability?
Yeah. And I just you get a lot of books set in like Cape Cod and Boston, but like my books are in like random places. Like, so Harlow's Rest, and this is the running joke with this book, Harlow's Rest is not Rehoboth, Massachusetts.
Okay.
Because I am convinced Rehoboth is haunted. So like Rehoboth and Dighton. So I live in the South. I live on the South Coast.
Yeah.
And Rehoboth and Dighton are some of like the oldest towns in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
And you drive down. Well, first of all, there's like a whole book about all the ghost stories on Route 44, which stretches from like Rhode Island through a lot of South Coast Massachusetts. And it goes right through Dighton and Rehoboth. Okay. But like you drive through and it's like old farms, and you just know, like every building you drive by is haunted.
Yeah.
Like I am just convinced Rehoboth is haunted. So Rehoboth was a little bit of the inspiration for Harlow's Rest, but then I amped it up.
Yeah.
too. There's unfortunately no carbs with holes, or no one puts pancakes
I'm
with
telling
water.
you, the names of these small businesses, it was so good. It it actually sort of reminded me, and I hope you'll find this a compliment, in Julie Murphy and Sierra Simone's Merry Little Meet Cute.
Hmm.
And they have the most hilarious names for every single location of this. Um, oh my God, I'm forgetting it right now. Something Notch, Vermont.
Yeah, the little
Uh,
Christmas town.
I mean, the names are just beyond. And every time I would encounter one in this book of yours, I was like, this is too good. It also was giving Stars Hollow
Oh
Gilmore
yeah,
Girls.
yeah. We kind of pitch it as Haunted Stars Hollow, because
I
I
love
really
that.
love, like, I really wanted to lean into the like quirky small town,
Yeah,
right? And so like Haunted Stars Hollow just feels like a good, and like also New England. Like Stars
totally.
Hollow is also, it's in Connecticut.
Can you talk about at this point in your career, what is the pitch process like when you have a new idea? How is that being shared with the people on your team? And are they coming to you and saying, "Hey, next we think it'd be really cool if you are in this lane"?
No. So typically I imagine for somebody who's a little bit more established in their career than I am, so somebody like a Julie Murphy or something like that, the process might be a little bit different. But as someone who is like very much a mid-list author, so I'm not hitting lists, I'm not bringing in the
Yet?
millions yet. I'm not bringing in the millions. And so for most of us, the process becomes, so when you sign a contract, there's an option clause. And what that means, and the option clause will look different depending on how you and your agent negotiate it. So, for instance, with my YA books, I have to show Delacourt my next project
Hmm.
that is a YA romance. I can choose, if I like write a YA fantasy, we can choose to give it to them, but we're not required to only give it to them first. We can go wide
Okay,
if we want to, but the next YA romance, Delacour gets to yes or no it
got it.
before I do anything with it. And so typically what I will do is when we're getting about that time, I will email my agent a bunch of ideas,
Yeah.
and then we'll narrow them down, and then we'll send them to my editor and see. So I had a 2-book deal with um How Not to Renovate a Haunted House and Love at Full Tilt. So this will mark a little bit differently. But for You're a Mystery to Me, which is my YA that comes out in 2028, I had sent my editor a bunch of ideas, and she just locked on to this one and like couldn't stop thinking about it. So that, and I was happy to sort of play with that idea. So that's what worked. And
Okay.
that's been typically my experience. If an editor's not involved and it's me and my agent figuring out what are we going on submission editors with, then that's a conversation where I go to my agent and I'm like, here's what I want to write.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we figure that out. So I am not in a situation where anybody says to me, we want you to write this, which is fine because I like to sort of find my own path and
Yeah.
tell my stories that I want to tell. And
Absolutely. And are you finding joy in the YA space? Is
I
it's
started out trying to be a YA writer. I spent 10 years querying, trying to break into YA, and
wow.
it just was not the time. I had 6 books.
Wow.
Love at Full Tilt was one of them.
Okay.
And so that I ended up being able to sell it years
Awesome.
later was pretty incredible. The
Yeah.
others were not good and will not, we will stay in the closet where they are locked away. But Love at Full Tilt was like the book I couldn't let go of. So like
Yeah.
I queried for 10 years. I had an agent at one point and it didn't work out. And I went back out into the query trenches for another 2 years with YA and was having no luck.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I have this idea for an adult romance that's set in grad school. And I shared it with one of my friends, and they were like, you have to write this. And so it just kind of came out of me.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, I mean, I didn't like have a rivalry with a colleague slash ex-boyfriend slash, fellow cohort grad
Yes.
student. But like I gave Allison in that book my dissertation. She's a
Okay.
medievalist, right? Like a lot of it came out of me, and I was not long out of grad school
Yeah.
when I wrote that. And that is the book that landed me my current agent
Wow.
and that sold first. And
Yeah.
so I didn't mean to be an adult romance,
Yeah.
but that's where I ended up. But my heart,
Wow.
I have always, if I could write YA and adult and just have books in both age categories, I would be ecstatic, because like I study young adult on the academic side.
Yeah.
And I think that it's such an important, kids lit is so important. And there's so much great literature coming out of it. And it makes me so angry what's going on with book banning
I know.
right now, and the ways it is trying to narrow the sort of what kids can find in books that may mirror them.
We talk about this a lot on the pod about book banning, and we actually did every year we do a books we love to gift episode around the holidays, and I think it was 2 years ago we only did banned books as a response to what's been going on.
Yeah.
And we were talking about books like The Hunger Games or Divergent that are critical for understanding what it is like to be oppressed. And if you don't have access to those fictional worlds to help open your mind up to what you may be seeing around you in your real life, it's a lot harder to have a full comprehension of what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly in a young adult, that's how so many people get introduced to the idea of romantic relationships. It's sort of
maybe for some kids, it's the only place they see queer kids and see
absolutely,
themselves.
absolutely, absolutely.
Right? For kids who live in very white communities, it may be the only time they're introduced to people of other cultures and ethnicities and races. Like it is.
I know. It's so, so, so important. And the idea that there will be limited access or no access to some of these stories is straight up terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to go back to one thing you said about the query process. So we hear from a lot of hopeful authors who want to be
They're still
traditionally.
authors. They wrote a book.
Yes.
Drop the hopeful.
Okay, we hear from a lot of people who want to be traditionally published.
Mm-hmm.
What advice would you give to those who are in the query trenches and who are feeling like their confidence is shaken, they're getting a lot of no's? How did you find the motivation to keep going?
I'm very type A. I like a gold star.
Yeah.
That's part of it. But honestly, like if there's something that I have learned, and I think that, I mean, people don't want to hear this when they're in the thick of it. And 10 years ago, Jenny would slap me for saying this, but I am grateful for how long it took, because it prepared me for publishing. Publishing is not a meritocracy. It is not a straight line, and rejection is regularly a part of it. And so you have to learn how to continue to be creative and to find joy in your work when everyone is saying no, right? And querying teaches you that. And I think that the most important thing for people who are in the querying trenches to remember is that once you query, you are entering a business now. And so the no's you're getting are not people saying you're bad. They're saying, I don't know how to sell this.
Right.
Those are not the same. Many good books just don't find representation, because that is not, publishing is a business. So it is what publishing is looking for,
right,
what drives agents and what they pick, and what drives editors and what they buy.
Yeah.
And editors will sometimes fall in love with books, and then they can't get them through acquisitions because the money people are saying this isn't going to sell.
Yeah,
right?
It's for sure. For
and
sure.
So I think it's about remembering that the no's you're hearing are not a reflection of you. They're not a reflection of you as a person. They're not a reflection of you as an artist. They are a business saying no to your product right now.
Yeah.
And it truly is a numbers game. the makeup test was book number 6 for me.
Wow.
Right? Like
Wow.
you have more than one story in you. If the story that you're querying is not hitting, start something else.
Yeah.
Pivot, be nimble.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great advice.
And there's nothing wrong with self-publishing. Also,
What's so interesting about you saying that is we've had the privilege to speak to a number of authors, and several of them have said, even once they've had something traditionally published, that they are considering self-publishing certain work that they believe deserves to be out in the world.
And it's not getting there.
Correct.
Well, and often what publishing is looking for and what the readers want are not the same, because by the time things that are traditionally published have come out, the trends have shifted. But if people who are self-publishing have the ability to do it much more quickly, you're not in a production line with 30 other books, you're not working with an editor who has 20 other people that they are also editing, right? And so you could get them out faster. So, like, for instance, people who are currently querying contemporary romance for adults are probably hearing a lot of no's in the query trenches, because right now the only people who are really selling contemporary romance are the very established, your Allie Hazelwoods, your, Chloe Leases, your Cara Bastones, like the people who have really established, Tia Williams, the people who have really established themselves. But readers still really want it. So this seems to me like a great chance to put your work out there. And it's not less hard. Self-publishing is also very difficult. It's got all of its own challenges, but there is a readership out there.
For sure there is. And we've been noticing there are lots of people who self-publish initially, and they're out there, selling their books person to person.
And then they get picked up by trad.
And then they get picked up.
Right. It could go, there's things, a lot of trad authors are hybrid. They're publishing things self-published too. Right. I have not chosen to self-publish simply because that would be job number 7 for me.
Yeah. Yeah. You got a lot going on.
And so having traditional publishing sort of handle some stuff you have to handle yourself if you're self-pub.
Sure.
Is just useful for me because of the particular life that I have. But I taught a whole course this past semester on paths to publication, and we talked about self-pub and trad pub as 2 very viable options.
Yeah.
One is not better than the other. They're just different choices with different risks.
Right. I think that's really true. Even Rebecca Yaros has said she was thinking about self-publishing some things because she just doesn't want the confines of the traditional publishing path. So, yeah, I think it's so interesting.
Well, she could publish her grocery list and make $5 million. So,
yeah, that's true. Yeah, I know. Speaking of you saying earlier, if you have a story idea, keep going. The Fourth Wing, not the easiest sell, in my opinion. And I read that book and the next one and the next one. And also, we are huge fans of her romance books. We've read a ton of her romance books. I wish I could have been a fly on the wall when she was pitching the Fourth Wing originally. It's a dragon riding college. You sometimes wonder how those things come to be and how certain things make it in one path versus another. But I think it's great to hear you say both paths can have great outcomes. And if you have something
and
that you want,
both paths are hard.
Yeah.
There is no easy. Some people will have first of all, it looks easy because it's their first book, but you don't know how long they spent trying to finish that first book, right?
For sure.
And also, even if it's somebody who just had a book idea, wrote a book, it got published, they often struggle with book 2 because they don't have I have a very clear process.
Yeah.
That I have built over 15 years of being in or trying to break into this industry.
Yeah.
I also have the value of having been in grad school, which beats the crap out of you and prepares you to be published.
Yeah.
Because you never do anything right in grad school. So you're just used to rejection. But if you don't have a set process.
Yeah.
And now suddenly you have to produce a book in a year where it may have taken you 6 years to write that first book. That is scary.
Yeah.
Sometimes people don't know how to handle the pressure and the stress of suddenly being in the public eye because your first
Absolutely.
book blew up, right? Like, so there is something hard for every single person in this industry.
For sure. I think
And you
that's
would just
really
have
well said.
to know, you have to want it enough, and you have to believe in yourself and your voice and the stories you're telling enough to handle that. I think is really important. You
Yeah.
can't lose sight of why you're writing. And if
Yeah.
why you're writing is to make $1 million, you're in the wrong industry.
That's for sure.
Sorry
That's
to
for
tell you.
sure.
Most people's lives don't look, most writers still have other jobs. Most writers are not J.K. Rowling and
Right.
Stephanie Meyer and
Right.
some of these
Right.
people.
Right. Yes. Yeah. That's so true. Talk to me about who you are reading now.
Well, I am almost done with Yesteryear.
Oh, we read it.
I have about 100 pages left, and I am just this. Um,
Yeah.
so I just started a YA book called The Sawmouth.
Okay.
That is a YA horror. Kale Plett, Kale, forgive me.
Okay.
And I am waiting impatiently for my copy of Tia Williams' new romance to come in.
The
The
Misconnection.
Misconnection.
So I feel that Tia Williams' 7 Days in June is one
Oh.
of the most beautiful books ever written. That
Sorry
story,
about the incoherent noises I'm making.
no, that's the right reaction. Her ability to describe their relationship and the way that they carnally need each other. I've not read anything else like it. It's
She's
great.
a master.
And I just saw it is going to be adapted for the screen, and I'm both thrilled for her and terrified because I
Yeah,
know
I wonder if they'll be able to capture it. It
yeah,
depends. It depends on the chemistry between whoever they cast.
it will. I don't know if you saw the movie If Beale Street Could Talk. I think that's would be the ideal energy if they wind up doing it successfully. I hope so because she really deserves it and the book is stunning.
Yeah.
Yes, that's on my summer list too, her new book.
I will say too that the one good thing, even when adaptations are bad,
Yeah.
they bring the book out of the bookosphere into the larger pop culture conversation. Like, look at Heated Rivalry.
Yeah.
Look what's happening with Elle Kennedy's books now, right? And so even if the adaptation isn't everything we want it to be, more people will be picking up Tia Williams, which more bookstores will be carrying Tia Williams, which I
Yes.
think is a positive thing no matter what.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. Is there anything else you would like the readers and listeners to know, either about your upcoming books or upcoming projects?
I mean, I just really this book, How to Not to Renovate Your Haunted House. Horror is one of my great loves. I mean, I cut my teeth on R.L. Stein's Fear Street books and on Christopher Pike's books, and then I was in Stephen King, right? And I love horror films. I love horror novels. I am so scared to try to write a true horror because it is hard. Horror and comedy, I think. Leah, I was on I was a moderator for Lee Bardugo on Monday.
Yeah.
And Liz Climo for their new picture book. Lee very smartly, I think, said that horror and comedy are two of the hardest things to write because they both rely on surprise in different ways. And I think that that's such a smart way to think about it. And I feel like I'm pretty good at comedy. My books make me laugh, which is all I ever want.
Yeah.
So if I make you laugh, great. I'm doing it for me. But horror scares me, and so this was my first time dipping my toe into horror, and so many people seem to have really loved that. It is not a scary book. It is a romance first and spooky second. I feel like Scooby Doo, Ghostbusters, Supernatural, the movie Casper from the 90s. These are
Yeah.
sort of the media comps to it. And so it's that level of horror. So not terribly scary, but spooky might be a good word.
Yeah.
And people are really responding to that aspect of the book too, which makes me so happy and hopeful that maybe Delacour will let me continue to play a little bit in speculative elements moving forward. I also have two unannounced adult projects
Yes.
that I can't talk about yet, but that will be coming out under a pen name.
Oh,
The pen name is Lucy Helen Howell.
okay.
So, like my last name, but add two L's to it.
Okay.
And I already have my Instagram up for it, so people can feel free to go follow.
Okay.
And these projects should be announced at the end of the month or beginning of next month.
Awesome.
With the first one coming out June 8th of next year.
Okay.
So, and they are everything I've ever wanted to write. And
Oh
that's all
my
I'm
God.
and still have the first one. Not only is she plus size, but she's 37.
Bless you. Coming from a 41-year-old. Bless you.
And I'm just gonna leave it there. I
Okay.
can't say anything else yet.
Oh my
But
gosh.
they are everything I ever wanted to write, and I feel very blessed
Oh,
that this publisher saw what I was doing and understood it, and I just wait.
this is so exciting. Okay. Plans are booked, listeners. If you want to see all the books that Jenny and I talked about today, join us on Instagram. We're at Plans Are Booked. That's where we share all the titles we mention in every single episode. If you liked what you heard today and you have questions or you want to make suggestions or you want to be in the loop about Jenny's upcoming projects, you can also write to us, plansarebooked@gmail.com. Jenny, thank you so much for being here with us. This was such a joy. And until next time, our plans are booked.
Thank you so much for having me.